Hi, Texas. Thanks for watching CBS 19 Plus. We are celebrating something, I guess, special today. It is the equilux. What is the equilux? Well, Latin, that means equal light. So day and night are about as equal as they get at any other time of the year, other than a few days before the spring equinox. In fact, today is probably the last time we have more than 12 hours of daylight. Today we have 12 hours and 49 seconds. The sun will set at 7:12, and then tomorrow we'll have fewer than 12 hours of daylight. Latitude impacts the equilux. The equinox, which appeared back on Saturday, that is the same everywhere because that is when the sun is over the equator. So what causes us to have this equilux? Often we think of the equinox as being the day that we have equal sunrise and sunset times, right? Well, that's not the case. That's because of something called atmospheric refraction. So as the sun is setting below the horizon, the light is bent from below the horizon to our eyes. Same thing as when it is rising. So at that time on the equinox, we are still seeing that sunlight a little bit later, and as a result, the sunrise and the sunset are also a little bit off. But today on the equilux, about as close as you're going to have to equal daylight in terms of hours. All right, rainfall reports. As we switch gears, look at Tyler. Suddenly, since September 1st, more than 3 inches of rainfall. Of course, we can owe all of that or most of that really to Sunday night. And now for the season or for the month, 0.6 of an inch above average. We cut into our deficit and dropped that down to about 6.5 inches. Longview did not have as much rain for on Sunday night, and so for the month they're still running a little bit below average. And by the way, Gregg County is still in a burn ban. Lufkin, look at Lufkin, 8 inches of rainfall for the month of September, almost 5 inches ahead of average. And for the year, more than 3 inches ahead of average. Something interesting to note about Lufkin in some previous studies and examinations of some of the records. When we start to see El Nino winter setting up like we are this year, Lufkin and Deep East Texas tend to have very wet winters and falls when El Ninos are developing. So this is right on trend with that. Next 7 days, not much rainfall. That means between today and perhaps next Tuesday, maybe a few hundredths of an inch. That is it. So it's going to be a dry go. So what's going on? Well, remember the big area of high pressure that we've seen over top of us? That will be expanding back toward East Texas here in the coming days. Stormy weather out in the Pacific Northwest, warm weather in the desert Southwest, rainy weather around the Great Lakes tomorrow. Rainy weather moves away, the warm, dry weather moves in, and it stays with us through the weekend. Highs will be in the lower 90s. This is quite an impressive storm for the West Coast over the weekend. Likely some snow in the higher elevations, rain moving through California and then into the Intermountain West, into the Rockies, while we stay warm and dry early next week. So the 10-day temperature trend here, we're supposed to be around 86. We're running about 7 to 8 degrees above average through the start of next week, and still about 6 degrees above average once we get closer to the 3rd or 4th of the month. Notice on Friday the 6th, things become a little more unsettled. There is some, again, rain showing up in about 8, or I should say 10 to 14 days. Rain chances over the next 7 sitting there at 0. All right, so current burn bans. This is as of 3 o'clock on Tuesday, September 26th. All right, so we just had Wood County dropped. So now Wood and Upshur are out. Camp has never been in one, nor has Titus. Morris dropped. Rusk dropped yesterday. Smith County dropped on Tuesday. And Nacogdoches and Angelina County dropped recently. All right, future skycast, lots of sunshine. Somewhat low humidity as we head into Wednesday morning, but it will return. We'll have a northeasterly wind that'll bring some just slightly drier air in. You'll notice, though, by Thursday we start to see clouds increasing from the south. That is reminiscent of a southerly wind and an increase in humidity. So we should start to feel the humidity coming back up by the end of the week, but it should remain dry through the weekend. All right, 8 to 14 day. This is going to be the rainfall outlook between October 4th and October 10th. Above average rainfall West Texas, above average rainfall favored in East Texas. Above average rainfall across the northern plains, the Great Lakes in that same time frame. Again, days 10 to 14, you're looking at below average rainfall. Warmer than average temperatures are likely, and we've already seen that when I just showed you those temperatures staying above 86 through that whole time frame. That storm out to the west keep things below average, likely through that same 8 to 14 day period. And again, that takes us through October 4th to October 10th. There are signs that we'll see a more active weather pattern developing as we head toward maybe this 8th, 9th, 10th of October. So that's why it was above average rainfall starting to show up, just because of a more active weather pattern. Morning lows, if you were hoping for morning lows close to average at 64, we just don't see that. We stay above average through the whole 10-day outlook when it comes to those overnight lows. I mean, it's not bad. Lower 70s, though, do feel a little bit more like summertime. Upper 60s would feel more like early September than as opposed to early October. So we're kind of running about a month, I guess, ahead of schedule or behind schedule. I guess behind schedule. All right, Wednesday morning temperatures, low 70s, generally clear skies. Can't rule out a little bit of patchy fog in some places, especially over deep East Texas once again. Henderson 73, Jacksonville 73, Panola County, Carthage 71, Center down to 71, Nacogdoches, Lufkin, Crockett, and Groton also into the lower 70s. So watch out for some fog early. We will see the winds begin to pick up a little bit, so that should dissipate, especially once we get into the late morning and the afternoon. We'll have easterly winds, 6 to 8 miles an hour, gusting at times up to 13 miles an hour. So not an overly windy day, not an overly hot day, but we will see warm temperatures. Lower 90s, for instance, in Camp County and in Pittsburgh. Dangerfield State Park, good place to be tomorrow. Sunshine, 91 degrees. Looking out to the west towards, how about the Mineola Nature Preserve, 92 with sunshine. Henderson, 93. Jacksonville, Lake Jacksonville, 92 degrees. And over deep East Texas, if you were headed down to Sam Rayburn, 91 with sunshine, 94 at Hemp Hill. Along the Toledo Bend, 94 at Groveton, 93 over Houston County and Crockett. All right, Felipe is out in the Atlantic, and it is a tropical storm forecast to weaken and then become a subtropical low as it heads toward the Leeward Islands. We are up to Felipe now. Next one up, I believe, would be Rena, and then Sean. All right, here's your Bill of Scott White Texas Spine Joint Hospital 10-day forecast. So some warm days ahead here with lots of sunshine and dry weather. Not morning thunderstorms on Friday. We'll stay mostly sunny. 94, 93 on Saturday, 93 on Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're backing off into the lower 90s. Next best chance of rain showing up in about 10 days, 20% chance with a high in the upper 80s. Thanks for watching CBS 19 Plus.